Thanks for joining me, everyone. I'm really thrilled that you want to know more information about these opportunities to go abroad. And before we get started, please open the sign-in sheet by scanning the QR code on your phone or following the link in chat. Please keep this form open and type any questions you have during or after the presentation there. Don't send it until after the presentation is done. This will also be a record for us of who has attended. So like I said, I'm going to wait till 6:05 to get started. We have a lot of families joining us tonight, and I'm going to record this meeting for anyone who wants to review it later or could not make this meeting. So I'm going to start that. And the recording will be sent to everyone later tonight. And while we wait, I'm going to show you a video of our adventure to Costa Rica from the past summer. So here we go. Before we get started, I wanted to share with you some of the images from the trip I took this past summer to Costa Rica. 29 adventurous souls came with me on this journey. Are you next? What creatures will we come across? Behind me, I have an American crocodile. Oh, guys, white-faced monkeys in Costa Rica.
Oh my god.
Primates.
Oh my goodness!
Amphibians. Reptiles. Giant insects. Maybe something cute and furry. Whatever it is, I'm pretty sure I can catch it. Greetings from Costa Rica, and I have here a spiny-tailed iguana. So, here we have an opossum. We will get to see lots of amazing things. Will your resolve be tested in a foreign country? What foods will you try? Termites, anyone? How many beautiful new places will you explore? These students planted mangrove trees as part of a conservation initiative. You can do more than be a tourist, make a difference in the world, and make some lifelong friends along the way. Here are a few things that students on my past Costa Rica trip have said.
I've learned a lot about biology, but I've also learned coming out of my shell and trying new things and living in the moment rather than overthinking everything. I just feel like after this trip I'm gonna have so much more confidence in myself, and I've made so many friends. It's gonna change you in a really good way.
Kids doing things that are regularly out of their comfort zone, I think is just so beautiful to see. I think it's one of the best things that you can get out of this trip.
The food is so good. My Spanish is improving so much already, and we've been here for 5 days just based on reading signs and talking to people.
I think I've gained a new self-confidence and independence, and just being alone in a foreign place and knowing that I can adapt and make a good time out of any situation.
I kind of feel more comfortable stepping out of my comfort zone. I just feel really safe and happy and comfortable here. And it's a special kind of confidence where you're able to be vulnerable and not be afraid.
You will be a mix of emotions, and you'll be anxious and scared, but it's all worth it because you're around so many positive people that will help build your confidence to be able to do other things that are outside of your comfort zone, that you won't even think about your anxiety. You have a lot of emotional and physical support when you're here. So do the trip. It's a great idea.
Kind of getting this overwhelming sense of love and appreciation and acceptance that surprised me and also encouraged me and inspired me to continue doing more things like this.
I've gained so much, probably more than I've gained in the last couple of years, to be honest.
As a person who was actually questioning if I should go on a trip like this, you should totally do it.
There's no person who wouldn't belong on a trip like this. There's nobody. It's everybody belongs here.
So for those of you who missed part of this, this was my students from the past Costa Rica trip this summer. talking about their experiences, and you'll hear a bit more from them in a bit. Once again, please sign in using the link that Jana is providing. Use this sheet for questions. Please avoid sending questions in chat. I'll be focused on giving you information, and Nora Walker from EF Tours is going to answer all of your questions through this form. I'm going to go through the details of this trip in detail, but I'm going to go through it really quickly to respect your time and answer all questions outside of the meeting. So we won't have a Q&A at the end. And with that, let's get started. For those of you who don't know me, I am the science chair at VIPHS. I teach biology, AP environmental science, and field ecology. I have a doctorate in ecology and evolutionary biology, and I've been teaching for 16 years now. Distance learning was really challenging as far as a form of education, right? Why? Because students could not interact, they can't create relationships, or do any hands-on activities. Travel is the opposite in every way. I have led trips all over the world with students, and it is a transformative experience for young people. I recently received an email from a student I went on a trip to Costa Rica with 12 years ago, and she said that that trip inspired her to live in China for a year, which got her interested in pollution law, and now she's an environmental lawyer. She wanted to let me know how much that trip opened her eyes to the world. During my own travels, I've had the opportunity to interact with some amazing animals and have myself learned a great deal about conservation issues for these species. I want students to have these experiences too. As Edward Abbey once said, it is not enough to fight for the land, it's even more important to enjoy it while you can, while it's still here. I've been trying to get an international program at VIP going for the past 5 years. I started with a course I taught called Tropical Ecology, where students studied environmental problems in Costa Rica and fundraised for a trip to conduct field research and service projects there. We raised enough money for a wonderful road trip to Utah, but I didn't raise enough for an international trip. The second time I taught the course, our plans got crushed by COVID. So I've decided to try something a little new by working with EF Tours, a company with 55 years of experience running educational tours. We created a trip to Costa Rica for summer 2022 that included a research project in the rainforest, visiting a crocodile farm, volcanoes, zip lining, we went kayaking, and did a whole lot more. It was an opportunity I wanted for my tropical ecology students to raise their cultural awareness and learn about tropical ecosystems. Rather than convince you myself of the value of these trips, I'd like to show you a brief video of student testimonials from this Costa Rica trip.
I feel like I've been surprised by almost everything every single day of this trip. Everybody here is so cool. Everything here is so beautiful. All the food is so amazing. Dr. Foley is like the most mind-blowing smart person I've seen. Like, it's just so cool. I love this experience so much.
I'm also surprised with how much I've connected with a lot of people that I've never talked to before.
I haven't felt self-conscious this whole trip.
I'm surprised how fast I was able to become so comfortable with everybody here and like no anxiety, really just good energy.
I'm really surprised and proud of myself and how I've like overcome all of my fears.
I don't know, I feel like I've just been really like living life more and like having more experiences and like it's just been really nice stepping out of my comfort zone.
I think I'm surprised, like, I'm not as homesick as I expected I was going to be. I think it's because there's just so much going on and like a lot of fun things that we're doing. I'm just kind of like, this is like better than being at home.
I'm just happy like people that I already knew at school but like didn't really talk to, I kind of like made friends with them and like made connections. And
I'm surprised I haven't had like explosive diarrhea.
I've been doing good about myself actually. I don't usually go to trips by myself, so I'm basically no family, just me. Yeah, this is the only time that it might be only happening, but
Oops, that was my fault.
Yeah, hopefully this keeps on going. It's like a different world here. It's more perfect than what we usually see, yeah.
Don't not go just because there might be something that could go wrong.
It's just so magical. Everything is so much. It's pink. That's not dye, that's actual pink. Like, that's a plant. And I look at that, and like, I didn't even think that was possible. It's just such an immersive experience. Are you still doing sign-ups for the Dominican Republic trips?
Yeah.
I might have to start saving up for that because I want to go places now. It's so cool.
Overall safety, I haven't really thought about because of how safe it has been. We've always been with adults, and that's already like all the different types of hotels we've been to. It's just been planned out so perfectly that we've all had time for everything and time to rest and have free time as well.
It's been really incredible, honestly. Like, at first it was hard because I've never done something like this before. Like, I've never traveled without my family before. You only live once, and I think you should definitely take this opportunity.
There's nothing that could go wrong because everything that does go wrong is a journey, and it's cool.
I think it's pretty telling that 10 students who went on this Costa Rica trip with me are here tonight and considering going on another EF tour. I have one of my chaperones here tonight who came with us on the Costa Rica trip. Say hello, Jonah.
Hello, everybody. Did you want me to share like my favorite part? So Dr. Foldy and I, we met at outdoor school like however many years ago. It's almost been 10 years ago now. And I saw this change in all of the sixth graders that would come to outdoor school of like, you know, they would show up at the beginning of the week and they would have their kind of like clique friend groups, but then by the end of the week, they had all, you know, become like a more enmeshed community and looked out for one another. And I expected that to happen on the Costa Rica trip, and it did way more than it ever did at outdoor school. I mean, the students became like family. We we got a little bit sick at the end, and everyone was taking care of one another and looking out for one another. And that is my favorite thing, is just watching the community building that happens over the course of these types of trips. So, yeah.
Thanks. All right, let's talk about Iceland. This trip is split between two locations in the north and the south of the country. I chose to go to Iceland because the capital, Reykjavik, is the greenest city in the world, and therefore we can learn a lot about environmental stewardship from traveling there. It also contrasts the tropical countries that I usually go to, so I figured there'd be more interest from certain students. And during our 8 days, we will visit a whaling museum, lava fields, waterfalls, beaches, and mud pots. We will go whale watching, bird watching, learn about sustainable fishing at the Herring Museum, visit geothermal plants, horse farms, greenhouses, and hot springs. Here is a look at the sort of architecture that we'll be seeing on our first day in Reykjavik. And let's not forget about getting to eat some amazing food. If you're a fan of seafood, this is the place to be. But the tour can easily accommodate any dietary restrictions of our travelers. Because we're planning early and because we want to get the best experience possible, we need some flexibility when it comes to travel dates. You should block out July 7th to July 22nd of 2024 if you plan to come. The exact dates are going to be set 2 to 3 months before we go. The middle range includes the dates that I've requested. You're probably wondering what is covered on this trip. Basically everything: airfare, hotels, most meals, insurance, transportation, local guides, and a local tour director with us 24/7, plus all entrance fees. The only thing you have to worry about is your personal gear, a passport, baggage fees, and tips. I highly recommend no checked bags, and you won't have to worry about baggage fees. I will send out an extra email much later once we've purchased our tickets to talk about the cost of tips, and that'll be known then. When I taught as an outdoor educator, I had 4 expectations: be safe, respect all things, learn things, and have fun. Of those, I'm sure we both agree that safety is the priority. As soon as we arrive, our tour director will meet us, and they will stay with us the entire time. We won't have to worry about any language barriers, and like myself, the tour has a lot of experience. The director has a lot of experience leading educational tours with high school students. EF is one of the oldest educational tour companies, and if a problem should occur, they have a 24/7 emergency support team. This is a huge benefit working with EF instead of running a trip on my own. There will be a 6-to-1 ratio of students to chaperones, and the chaperones that I have in mind are well-traveled educators like Jonah. I am in constant contact with Nora, our tour consultant. She will answer any questions you have about the tours, and she helps me with the planning of these trips. The tour director will be co-leading the trip with me as a local expert that will handle all daily logistics. And there's a whole team at EF that is ready to support us to make this tour happen. Why are we promoting this trip a year and a half before going? First of all, it would be an understatement to say these past few years have been rough. I'm sure we have felt overwhelmed and isolated. Sometimes it was exciting just to leave the house. Now that the world is opening back up, I think it's so important to give us something exciting to look forward to. The Peace of Mind program allows our group flexibility to change our trip due to unforeseen circumstances. I'm included in the cost of the trip global travel protection, which ensures baggage or property, trip cancellation, interruption, and more. We can also purchase, you can also purchase extra coverage when you enroll to cancel for any reason up to 24 hours prior to departure and get a full refund. Signing up now not only ensures your student as a spot on the trip, but it makes monthly payments, make sure that monthly payments are a lot more manageable. And you'll be taking advantage of the tour company's risk-free enrollment period, meaning you can get a full refund if you cancel 14 days after enrolling. Lastly, EF is running a $200 early enrollment discount for anyone who signs up for the Iceland trip before October 7th. I am having this meeting today to give you the chance to get that discount. What is all of this going to cost? If you sign up today, you can choose to make 122 bi-monthly payments, $245 monthly payments, or pay the full $4,979 with discount by enrolling in the next week. I have done a lot of traveling, and tours like this usually cost a lot more. The trip is also not restricted to VIP students, so feel free to invite former students, friends, or siblings. Adults who are 20 years of age or older can also come, but at a higher cost for separate housing. I will say that in my experience, parents that come tend to spoil some of the social interactions for their kids, but it's an option. Note that all adults are required to pass a background check before traveling. Travelers get so much out of this, this trip, but I wanted to mention one more small thing. EF and I are going to put together a gift package for you that includes many goodies like a backpack from EF and yes, the now famous Dr. Foldy t-shirt. This is my 11-year-old self. Of course, the cost of the trip may still be prohibitive for some families. There is the possibility of a $1,000 scholarship opportunity that you can apply for now. You just have to submit a 2 to 3 minute video on how this tour is going to change you. I know 2 VIP students who got the scholarship, and Nora tells me that they don't really get many applications, so I highly recommend trying for this. You will also be given a donation page to send out to friends and family, like a GoFundMe. You have more than a year to raise the funds, so get your kid to work for it. Also, my ecology class is working on raising money for a set of in-house scholarships that we will be handing out to families that could not afford one of these trips normally in December. If you have any interest, you can always donate to our GoFundMe. Jonah is posting the link in chat, and we could also use donations of items for an auction that is going to take place later in the semester. I'll send to everybody who RSVP'd information on how to apply later this semester. So if that wasn't enough, this trip can also help students with college. You can get college credit for the trip because EF has a partnership with South New Hampshire University. All you would have to do is design a project before you leave and submit it after the trip, plus pay tuition of just $215. You can't find cheaper college credits. And for those of you who will be applying for college after the trip, this is the sort of thing that sets your application apart. This is the sort of thing colleges love to see. EF will even provide you with help writing a college essay about your experience. I cannot express to you enough how much of an impact trips like this can be on the character of a young person. Ultimately, travel is about personal growth and building confidence in yourself. It is about leaping into the great unknown and realizing that you can accomplish anything. They will look back on the trip like this as the best parts of their teen years. These numbers are a bit mind-blowing, but 199 people RSVP'd to attend this meeting. That's 121 families. Another 19 families requested info, but couldn't actually make the meeting. There's only 20 guaranteed spots available for the Iceland tour. You can secure your spot with a $95 deposit that will be subtracted from your total. And if you enroll before October 7th, you'll get the $200 promotional discount and be within the risk-free enrollment period. We may be able to adjust the number of seats available depending on interest, but considering how fast the previous trip filled, I would recommend making a final decision as soon as possible. To enroll in the Iceland trip and to see more information like the full itinerary, you can visit our enrollment page by using this link. Jonah is also going to post it in chat. I recommend taking a photo of this page so you have all the info right away. Use the enrollment number and you'll be welcomed aboard. For those of you interested in marine biology, sunny beaches, and a sooner trip, I am also reopening enrollment for the trip I announced last year to the Dominican Republic. This trip is cheaper, costing a total of $3,964, or you can make monthly payments. It will be in July of 2023, not hurricane season. If you come on this trip, you will learn how to snorkel in some amazing coral reefs and spend several days working on a coral reef conservation project that will require you to get lots of snorkeling experience. By the time you leave, you'll be an expert on marine life in these reefs, and you'll also get a chance to explore some of the tropical forests of the island and visit the caves of Santo Domingo. Also, the capital city of Santo Domingo is often called the culinary capital of the Caribbean. Oops. So to enroll, all you have to do is follow the link in chat or use the QR code. There's also more details like the itinerary on the trip here. Note that because I announced this trip last year, there are only 5 guaranteed spots left. I also want to remind everyone to use the sign-in form by either going to the posted link or filling out, because filling this out gives us a list of who's going to be present and gives you the opportunity to ask questions that you might have. So with that, I want to respect everyone's time. And so I'm going to close the meeting. I'm going to send everybody a link to the meeting recording and enrollment links by email. Nora is going to answer all your questions tomorrow. And let's put the eye into Valley International Prep and go on an adventure. Thank you all for coming and have a great night.